Manufacturing Matters is an MFG Radio Network production brought to you by GIE Media's Manufacturing Group as industry experts take deep dives into the latest manufacturing matters, whether it's new innovations, products, technologies, and emerging markets that help you understand better why manufacturing matters to you and also to the top companies in the medical, aerospace, defense, and electric vehicle manufacturing industries. Hello, and welcome to the latest discussion from GIE Media's Manufacturing Group, HMI Solutions for the EV industry with user insights from a UX perspective. I'm Jake Kaufman, the managing editor for GIE Media's Manufacturing Group of magazines. We want to thank today's sponsor, EAO. EAO is a Swiss family-owned company, a global partner for human-machine interfaces, from high-quality industrial push buttons, keypads, and operating elements to complete HMI operator panels and HMI systems, and always reliable, intuitive, and innovative. Today's presentation will explore the best practices in human-machine interface design and how it can shape and brand the user experience both positively and negatively, as Dominique Burkhardt, the Industrial and UX Design Manager at EAO, will guide you through the presentation. Since 2021, Dominique has played a leading role at EAO, focusing on industrial and UX design with the realm of product innovation and development for human-machine interfaces. His instinctive and intuitive solutions align usability, aesthetics, and ergonomics with both market demands and customer needs throughout product definition and conceptualization. With a 25-year career in development and industrial design, Dominique has contributed to enhancing the customer experience with renowned companies such as Emerson, Viega, Sika, Johnson & Johnson, Schnaufner, EMV, and Hilti. His accomplishments are highlighted by several industry patents and design awards. However, now I will hand things over to Dominique, as the presentation floor is yours. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate your time.
Okay, I share a screen. Should work.
Yes.
Okay, the right one, huh? Cool. Okay, hello everyone, and thank you, Jack, for this Friday introduction. You already said a lot about me and about EAO, but we go through some details and then we'll see. Okay. Also, already mentioned, my name is Dominic Burkhardt, and I'm working at EAO at headquarters in Olten. This is in Switzerland, just in case you're a little bit confused by my accent. Yeah, I would like to welcome you today's webinar on HMI Solutions, for among others, which focus on the electric vehicle industry, but more from a UX perspective, because my work and my expertise is centered around the topic of industrial and UX design. More about that on this wording in a few minutes. So then I would say let's start and jump right into the presentation. At first, a short content overview about the presentation today and what we will talk about, I would say, in the next about 40 minutes. I will start with some facts about EAO, our focus markets, and a rough summary of the special vehicle market requirements, which were the basis for the development of different products you will find in several automotive, included electro vehicles, solutions, and also other products from EAO. In relation to today's main topic, I will talk about the importance of UX perspectives in HMI solutions for the EV industry, as they relate to the operators of experience in vehicles. This naturally applies to commercial vehicles, private vehicles, heavy-duty vehicles, and so on. And also in this context with electric vehicles, a little bit to infrastructure technologies, but we will see later. And at the end, I would like to show you in a rough summary some projects regarding the integration of UX in several project stages to support our customers and maybe some of you here in this audience. Yeah, here a quick introduction of EAO, how Jack already mentioned. for those of you who are not so familiar with our company. Yeah, the human touch. Since 1947, we have been developing and offering HMI solutions for almost all areas of everyday life. And as the slogan already indicates, we attach great importance to tactile interaction. You will find out more about it later in this presentation. The human touch is our brand claim. Yeah, EAO in figures. Yeah, you see, EAO is a Swiss and family-owned company, and yeah, and has developed into one of the world's leading manufacturers of high-quality industrial switches, complete custom HMI panels and interface systems, and specialized automotive command and control components. And with over 600 dedicated employees, EAO has a global product development, production, and distribution network at its disposal. Our range, our range of services and our expertise allow us to offer complete. Yeah, our range of services and our expertise allows us to offer complete individual and systems-based HMI solutions in key markets. We focus on the following markets, as you can see on the slide: transportation, automotive, heavy duty, and special vehicles, and of course also EV, electric vehicles, which regarding the HMI is quite similar to fuel-driven vehicles. And then also we have the sector machinery. However, by our long tradition and many decades on the market, our product are serving many other markets and industrial applications. By today, we want to focus on heavy duty and special vehicles in combination with electric vehicles and electric vehicles infrastructure. Yeah, but first, to give you an understanding of our expertise, I would like to tell you a little bit about our products and competences. As a leading developer and manufacturer of user-specific and ergonomic HMI components and systems in the automotive industry, of course, all our HMI components and systems comply with all standards and guidelines relevant to the automotive industry. Our product range is split in rugged keypads called Series 09. I will talk a little bit later about this applications. And then we also have HMIs these are HMIs in the visible area. You see it on the right side, on the left side. And then we also have some components, I would say, in the not visible area. These are normally switches for seat belt or handbrake control switch, glove box switch, something like this, where our customers then integrate in his design or in his assembly. Here you can see an overview regarding our Series 09 I mentioned before. In particular, the keypads, but also our universal switches, this on the right side, for in-cabin, especially driving functions, also mostly used in EV cockpits nowadays, yes. And here you see several other products, high quality and ergonomic products, different kinds of switches, emergency stops, and indicators and so on. Also often used in the special vehicle area and also for EV applications, like the infrastructure, for example, the charging stations often have some of our components, which you see here on this side. Yes. This was so far a short intro about the company and some of our products. And yes, what you see here, this is what we are going to discuss today. As the statement says, maximum performance of equipment is expected. Whether it be in the industrial or commercial environment, it is the established standard. Nothing is more frustrating when equipment or features fail. I think you know it. When usability is impacted by the first touch point, the user's interface. The irritation level dramatically increases, which often results in a tarnished or damaged brand. That's why it is so important to understand the application environment and to employ design practices to best implement a solution to incorporate what the user feels, think, and experiences. You want easy and seamless interactions that results in a positive user experience. We come also to this theme a little bit later. And that brings us to the resulting market needs, I would say, in a rough summary. Within this market, we have to fulfill the most demanding requirements for our products. In general, we talk about off-road and on-road vehicles with key applications in driver's cab or outdoor applications. Here are the key, I would say the most important key features regarding this kind of applications or products. Robust design to handle aggressive environments. Design, of course, ergonomic, configurable, and with the safety requirements fulfills. Intuitive operation, rugged construction, and reliable. High quality, and when it's possible, overall attractive appearance. That's then more my job. And yeah, the main target about this requirements is that the operator has the full control of the vehicle or equipment at all time. Here we will also see a few examples which are not so good. Yes. And now from the market requirements, we come a little bit down to the application requirements here to show the environmental conditions. It's also, we don't talk a lot about, but it's really important that this kind of products are really when it comes to contact with oil, water, or with dust, and so that the products are very safe and they also worked in harsh conditions. And now, with these pictures in mind, I give you an overview about, I would say, applications where you can find this kind of products. Here, a well-known fire truck. Here you have a high temperature range. You have resistance against dust and water. A high protection level is needed. And also, what's important is to have intelligent user guidance through optical feedback. I will show you later an example how this could look in another application. And here you see some components also here working with keypads. Then also here, well-known excavator. Also here we have a kind of robustness. Good tactile feedback is really important in this kind of machinery. And yeah, also the brightness we mentioned before is always, would say, a really important point. Then other fields, agricultural vehicles, also the same. And then here come a little bit nearer to our main focus today, to the electric vehicles. Here we go through the trucks and buses, fuel-driven, but the cockpit are quite similar to an electric vehicle. Yes. And also typical application examples have further common requirements for our HMI. And now let's have a closer look to an EV, electric vehicle. Here's an example of an electric vehicle, van, fleet electrification. is a huge market due to environmental and green initiatives, along with government mandates. Yes, and this is from the outside, and here you see the inside of such a car. Of course, it's an EV. It's driven by electricity and not by fuel, but quite the functions are, you see it here, are similar. But what's more important is we will go through this a little bit later, is to see how important really the layout or the design of cockpit is, independent of if it's fuel driven or electrificated. Yeah, and here in this context, we have also this charter for electrical vehicles. And here I would say the user needs is that's easy to use, self-understood and intuitive interaction. Everybody of you who has an electric vehicle knows from what I talk. And here we also have some requirements for this switch, for this kind of switches. You see here one of our customer, I think, where we deliver our components. Yeah, operation issues, screen freeze is a point, or weather environmental problems, rain, sunlight, heat, UV exposure, or when you work with glove, or vandalism is often also a problem, safety controls or inconsistent user interfaces. Yes. So, and now all this information showed before brings us to the following quote. When you read this, it is important to understand and analyze the application environment to provide an intuitive, functional, and dependable interface. It sounds logic, but you will see there are even today some applications there are not really user conform or not developed based on user needs. Yeah. So I would say after this warm up and a lot of information about markets, needs, and products, and then we go now to for me the more funny part of the presentation. Yeah, and here you see the title. Yeah, I choose somewhat provocative, yeah, intuitive switches in a modern touch environment make perfect sense. And you will learn and see why it is so. This is from our opinion, but I think most users will share this kind of statement. Yeah, and as I mentioned at the start, we have to start with a little definition of what's industrial and UX design. Here you see it. It's a little crash course on the wording and this meaning, because I'm often asked what's the difference between the two disciplines. So here's a serious introduction to this topic. On the right side, used normally in the past class, could be used less functionally at the time. So we had all our problems. The older ones among us know what I mean, for sure. Yeah, and somebody shaped this bottle with this material of glass. And then you see the use on the downside, you see the user experience. The user experience is that what I feel when I use a product, shortly explained. And here you can see the user experience was not so good. Then later on the right side, when plastics part came up, and we were able to build in some functionality like the squeeze valve and then the using of SketchUp or something like SketchUp was more easier. Yes, and also this product is shaped normally when we talk about design, then normally it's done by an industrial designer, but the experience from the user point of view was or is much better. So we can tell about a good or a bad user experience. Here we could say UX design tries to enable a positive user experience. So far, the explanation of the difference. Yeah. For me, it's always good to explain to the people what's the difference of these two competences. Yes, and here now what's the point is clarified. Let's move on to one of the main topic of UX design. You can see it here. I think you can see what I mean here because just because you can do something, it doesn't mean that the user wants it that way. And this is often also the case with operating concepts and of course also in the automotive and EV areas. You see it here, we have product features, a lot of them, but maybe that is not really the user need. That's often a problem also. Yes. So now, do you know what's the difference of industrial design and UX design? Let's go back to my title. And yeah, why haptic switches? Here you can see, I would say, a future design of a vehicle cockpit with many features, or maybe even a VR environment, but a virtual reality. And this looks always good in the context in a design study or maybe in a sci-fi movie. But what does reality looks like, at least nowadays? Here, I find this in a dictionary, the definition of haptics. I think it's really cool, and it's a good description of what is the feeling and what is the feedback of a good haptics. So, and now I have a little how do you say, a little task for you. Please keep this picture in mind. We will come later back again here. And what's important is that you see in the title, industry proposal, visual thinking with exclamation mark. Yeah. And in the meantime, I will show you some interesting examples around HMIs in car, fuel-driven and electric. But keep this picture in mind. Yeah, here's some real experience from a UX perspective. This was a big thing here in Europe in the last 2 years in Germany. The VW Group, also known as Volkswagen, they reduced the switches and buttons really in a high level, and they put all in a touchscreen. Maybe they was inspired by Tesla, by Elon Musk. And yeah, and then here you see some statement from the user, and this was going so far that a lot of users made a kind of shitstorm versus Volkswagen. And yes, and Volkswagen reacted. They said, okay, to their driver, they will rethink the operating concept. And at the end, even the chef, Thomas Schaefer, announces that real switches and clear menus should return. And really now the new generation of Volkswagen, the 24 models are being redesigned. with functional buttons. You can see here, you will find it in new cars from Volkswagen. They, yeah, they band out the climate control from the touch in a kind of it's not only a push button, it's a smart push button. You can rotate and you can define it and you can push and you can change between some functions. But it even is much better than this touch because you can use it blind. It's always a problem with the touch screen to use it blind. This is one of these examples where you had or where the users had not so good, I would say, a bad user experience. And I have seen that Ford also have the same problems. It's really interesting. Also here, they talk about the disappearance of the climate controls. Yeah, and so we can create a theory that the most drivers on the earth have the same pains when it comes to drive a car. Here another example, and for me, really, for me, from the point of view as UX designer, a very interesting example. And yeah, because there was a guy, he bought a Tesla. He was very happy with the car, but he was really unhappy with the controls. And what he did was he initiated a module via a crowdfunding project, and then they build up this kind of module here. You can edit on the touchscreen in the Tesla, and over software, then you can bring some functions from the touch on a haptic button. So you have a rotary button and you have push buttons. And so you can select which kind of function you want to have on your module. And what's really, for me, really cool and interesting is the name of this module. The name was or is control bar. And for my point of view, that says a lot about the problematic we have with such kind of really on the first look clean and good-looking concepts, and then when you use it, then you feel okay. It's not all is very applicable for me when I'm driving a car. That's very an interesting example. And this example also show how we today are able to solve problems in a way to give us a better user experience. Yeah, and from that we go to this point. Also, I found it in a German news in a German paper. It's Automotor. It's a very known old organization here around the cars, and they ask thousands of people what they really want for operation system in the car. And yeah, mostly the answer was buttons and controls. Haptic controls, but more in a combination of both manual and digital. This is what we have seen before, what Volkswagen has now made better with the new cars, improved. Yeah, and here you see some things, but here really interesting. The climate settings are for all people really important to have them outside of a touch so that I can go quick and control them blindly and don't risk to have an accident, something like this. Yeah, and there we go through now with this information, a short repetition. What are the benefits of haptic or tactile switches? Yeah, you can see here, these are the points. They allow users to intuitively operate a device without having to fight their way through a menu. Security-related applications, of course, they provide clear feedback due to the haptics used in harsh environments. Also a theme. Not everywhere touchscreen works really. And that's a really, for me, important point, reduces distraction, because I am able to make a blind operation. Everybody of you knows when you are driving and you have a touch, then you go with your hand to the touch and you search something, and yeah, it's really distracting, and also it's really dangerous from my point of view. Yeah, also cool. Simple buttons can be used by multiple occasional users when you have a car when you share a car. So for everybody, it's clear where you have to push something. Yes. Or yeah, successful operation, high vibration. So now with all this knowledge, we can try to analyze a future cockpit. Now, as said to you before, keep that in mind. There we had the exclamation mark. Now we changed it a little bit to a question mark. But in the moment when we see these examples, we are not so sure, yeah, it's really the right way. Yeah, and now let's make this kind of visual thinking cockpit or dashboard. Let's make it more user-friendly, or make it so that we as driver or user have a better user experience with this kind of applications. So in the first step, we saw it before, we talked about the climate control. We go, yeah, we change we go and we, here, zack. We have seen or learned, as I mentioned before, that the climate control is important to have it out of the touchscreen and bring it back to the dashboard. This would be the first step here. And so we would make happy about this 44% of drivers. Okay, this would be the first step. I would say it's a better implementation, it's more user-friendly, with minimal haptics, and then we go further, a step further, and we do it already better because also something here is missing. I would say this one, additional switches near to the touchscreen. Then sometimes you have troubles to find the right spot on a touch. I mentioned before, when you are driving at the same time. And it's like you would play on your smartphone while you're driving. And this, by the way, here in Switzerland is forbidden, but not to play around with the touchscreen. It's a little bit confusing. So it could be useful to have help to go through the screen and without touching the screen. So of course, this help is stationary and of advantage something to touch, like it's shown here as drafts. You can hold your screen and you can move around with arrows and with buttons and not to play on the screen or search on the screen. Yeah, that's a little bit better. We can make it more better. Yes, there are some, I would say, yeah, they are bringing out more functions which you are using while driving. Like you can see here, maybe for ventilation, or also useful or changing function. Like here, you want to change the lightness, the brightness of the light, or you want to reset something, or you want to open your heck, something like this. Or also for gear functions. I also have a car, totally nuts. I have how do you say, an all-wheel drive car, and when I want to change something, I don't have buttons. I must go into a menu on the touch screen in the fourth sub menu to change something. And the bad thing is that they don't even go automatically back on the front side. You have to go back. And to do something while driving is absolutely, I don't know what they have, what was the idea behind that. But here you see, you have the things you really need, you have here. And so I would say now we have a dashboard who is really in line with user needs or with my needs. Okay. And then yeah, we can make it even better. We have learned from this guy with the Tesla we saw before. Why not implement additional buttons where are programmable? This means that I, as user, can choose which functions should be on one or two or three, four, five, and six. And so also I have really an advantage when it comes to blind operation. So really I can go with my on the dashboard and know this is the one, the two, the three, and when I push this, this function happens. And so it's a kind of memory function where I can put out of the touchscreen. Yeah, and this is what I would say really a better or more user-friendly kind of dashboard or cockpit. So, and yeah, what's the all this experience brings us now to the conclusion, and the conclusion from my point of view is buttons or touchscreens for private and commercial vehicles or EV vehicles. It's all about the mix. I know you know it before. I think it's quite yeah logical, huh? But you see, the car builder tries to do it in another way, but at the end it comes to this. It's all about the mix. Yeah, the mixed technology solutions, how we call them at EAO. It's really brings you to a better user experience. Yeah, and this mixed technology, we have, I would say that there are so three main concepts. I will show you them. One concept is it's a kind of clear separation. Also here shown as really have a lot of functions on buttons, and I have screens, but they are more used as indicator, not really as interaction object. And then the other one we also have seen, that's another step, but the name for this kind of switches are smart hub, so smart buttons, smart switches. Here also it's design study from our side. This is a capacitive and tactile push button, and depending on where you have the finger in the moment you push, then this function will be activated. And you have these four quadrants, we say in German. I don't know quadrant in American. You have these four positions you can push, but you have a real tactic feeling then. And you can also, because it's also a capacitive button switch, you can also make like a rotation movement. Everybody of you who knows the first iPod was this kind of wheel you could turn, but it was not really turning. It was made by this capacitive technology. Yes. Or here also this solution as rotary push switch, and how I showed also this Volkswagen did, where I can rotate it to a function, then I can push down, then I maybe in a submenu, and then I can also then go back. And it's cool because it's nearer to a blind operation possibility than when I have it on the touch screen. So, yes, this was, I have to see on the time. Yes, this was the part about our products, about EAO, about my work, also the the the, the, the kind of issues or pains that you have as UX designer when it comes to create an really ergonomic, user-friendly environment for a driver. Yes, and now for the next few minutes, I will show you some projects we're working on to show you a little bit what's the work of a UX designer. Yeah. Here to start, this is the method we work normally with this. Also, I work normally with this. Is the it's not written here, I see. Is the design thinking method. It's really cool because you can. The main thing here is about to understand the user. You start with interrogation, with shadowing, with interviews with users, and to want to find out what are really his core needs. And then from this point, you define something, then you can make some ideation, brainstorming, you bring it up in prototype. Normally, this we talk about cardboard prototypes, simple prototypes, not functional prototype. But the main thing is when you have something in hand, it could be a piece of paper, then you can interact with your colleague, and then you can discuss, and you can also say, okay, when I push here, what happened then, and something like this. And this helps really a lot to have in an early stage to define a really good concept, so you can go further with the concept, and you don't have to change it at the end when the costs are exploded and the timeline is passed. Yes. Yeah, here I go roughly through, and here this is a customized cockpit for EV application, here for a forklift, and the job is to make product integration with our products. Some are already here, others are in the pipeline, and then it goes up to, yeah, how can we take these components and build it in a way that it's really added value for the user. And here you see a short, rough summary of my work. It starts mostly with concepts, designs, and it goes further with models, with mockups, easy mockups to find out if you are on the right way or not, and until the end to a final version where you can show to the customer or support the customer with these ideas. And also, this was a little bit what I showed in the last slide, a little bit the part from the industrial design, the ergonomics, these things. And here it's a little bit more the UX design. At the beginning, we talked a lot about the illumination and illumination features of some products like ours here. And often it's really helpful to show to the people, the customer, how they can use these buttons in the context with this illumination features to show how something works. I guess I had a little animation I will show you. You have this keypad, and the cool thing is you can use it as guidance and also as indicator. So when something is moving, then you have these rotations features, or you see it here. Here you use it also as a sensor for distance, and you can also have a double function on a button. Like here, you can use it for push up, and yet here we have integrated a kind of weight control. When the weight is too high, then you have an alarm on your illumination button, and so this helps the user. And the cool thing about that is the feedback. You have the feedback touch, and you have also the optical feedback, but the optical feedback is at the place where you push on the button and not near on a screen or something like this. Yeah, here this is a little bit a little project, but I like it because it shows very well the UX or design process for a product. This was a customer input for a hand switch, a kind of dead. We told them deadman switch. That means you have to push the button for a while, and then you have to release and to re-push and so on. You have to change, I think, all 30 seconds. And this was the customer input, but we printed it out, and then we saw, okay, it's not really ergonomic. It's not really, you can't really use it the whole day. And then I made a rough sketch to show maybe we should change the shape of this kind housing to something like this to bring out the button. Maybe it's more easier or more ergonomic for the user. And then the customer says, oh yeah, it's a cool idea, go further with this. And then we made some different stages. Then also I made a user test with several users, with people with really small hands and other people with big hands. And so we refined the shape, and at the end we are getting back into the CAD, and then we made the final shape, and now it's a product. But here it's to show how UX can help to add a value to a product or to make something more better for the user at the end. Here also a little project showing the integration of one of our components into a design from a car. The problem here was the space. We had our button is a little bit was too big for the place we had. And then we normally we start with some design studies to show, hey, look, maybe we can also do it in another way. And then we do some iterations. And at the end, this was then the solution which the customer was accepted. And here also interesting, another project. This one is funny. The customer likes our product, but he's little bit afraid of the shape because he thinks, okay, it don't fit really on his product. So my task was to do a kind of hidden design. And yes, then we started. We make some research. Where's the position? How I have to operate it, and then yeah, we make some shapes. How to show him? Okay, we can make some kind of a plate in front, so you don't have to see this shape. And at the end, then it was like this design. So we have integrated our product, but in the form language of the customer. And here, that's the last one, but then I have to finish, I think. That's about HEVs, well-known upcoming electric vehicle, from very small to big. And here, the idea was to support a customer with a new product, and the idea was to integrate our products into his kind of concept, and we also did the whole design for this case, and in combination, of course, with our products. But we also did the whole design study. Then you see it here how it looks. There was the family with this little one and the bigger one. This is half automatic, and this is full automated. And here you see some from the concept study, some different kind how we could solve this with our components. It's more here with the switches, and here this is another also something EAO can make, or this MIP, we call them MIP. And this is a kind of foil where we have also switches in it, but also illumination features and things like this. Yeah, that's were at the end a little bit rough, but I'm through. I'm finished so far with the presentation. I hope it was how do you say, interesting for you. But my problem is I don't see anybody. I don't know if you laugh or not, if you sleep. But I hope I can bring a little bit to you, and when you can say 1 or 2 points if you think, okay, that's a cool thing. I didn't know it really, but now it's more clear for me. Then it's okay. Back to
Awesome.
you.
Well, thank you so much, Dominique. Definitely very informative, and we appreciate the time. It does look like we do have some extra time, though, for a few questions, as it looks like, let's see, Randy wants to know, if I collaborate with a design expert like EAO, how does that help speed up the design process and then also reduce the development cost?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's what I showed here at the end and with these examples. Um, yeah, normally when the customer comes to us, also when he has an idea for a cockpit, it's not only to integrate our components. Maybe we have three components from our part, and then they have several other components like screens, like joysticks, like anything. But I think with the expertise we can, because we have a lot of different, not different, similar projects, we have, I would say, a kind of know-how we can use, and we can also bring it to the customer. And I think you have seen this method we work, this design thinking method. Um, that's a cool thing to really have. You can have a whole cockpit made on cardboard.
Mm.
It costs you nothing.
Yeah.
You made it in a half a day, but you can play, and then you see, here I see the screen, the joystick is for. I have to tell that yesterday I was in a fair trade in Bologna, agriculture fair trade, and they had a lot of tractors, and they had really tractors. They have the joystick you can use, and the screen is in front of the joystick. Also, that means the user don't see really on the screen. You
Yeah.
have to go
You're-
saw or take away. And these are so simple things. When you do it at the early beginning, then you see it, and then you can adjust this. But when you see it at the end, then the project leader says, no, 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 we don't have money to change this. We let it so. And then at the end, the user have to live with this. But yeah, to ask to give a question to ask to the question is, yeah, we can. I think it's it's an added value for the customer. Yeah, we have several customers who are very happy. Also, this project with this handle, with this Deadman switch, were really appreciated by the customer. Also, because we were very fast in the concept phase. Also, we talk about, yes, from the input then to the first 3D printed handle. This was about 2 weeks, and that's really, really rough in this stage. After this, then you have all the technical things, and so then it's a little, but I would say the concept phase, then you can really bring it together. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dominique. Also, Eric wants to know, do you consider good UX design to be a necessity when developing a product?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. And then,
That's the example I mentioned before with the tractor handle with this armrest. That's that because at the end, that's the funny thing is the user come and he have to drive this tractor. But at the moment when he drives the tractor, he learns to live with this issue. That's normal. Everybody of us will do this or find a workaround. But I think that these are the little things you can make better from the start. But normally these are really uh, things that are not. They are officially, but sometimes they are, yeah, you have no time or you are too quick and then you don't see that. And then at the end you have an issue, yeah.
and looks like a few more questions. Do you see common influences with the need for commercial versus industrial applications?
Yeah, and that's something you see quite as in the automotive area. We had also projects in the past when the whole story of the Tesla comes up. Tesla were really the first with this
Mhm.
big kind of touchscreen where you have no switches, you can all do there. We had also a manufacturer of a kind of tractor. It's not a real tractor, but it's also agriculture. And he saw that and he found, hey, we can save a lot of money when we bring in this touch and we remove away all buttons. So not all buttons, but 80% of the buttons.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that don't work in any case. In this project, we also had at the end we had a smaller display touch and a lot of switches because the user you can't drive a tractor and then try to push something on that's not possible. But you
Right.
have to try it because but also here this company it's an old Swiss company about I don't know 100 years and
Mm.
they know. You should mean they know their user, but then it's an ID, and when I told it at the beginning, when you have a design study, then it looks clean and everybody thinks, hey, that's the way. But the first time then in the real environment, you sit in, you start your motor and you go on the field and it's really harsh, then you have no chance. And then the user says, hey, what should that be? I can't use it really good. Or I have, or if that was the case, he has to stop to make the adjustments but it's not applicable. Then you lose a lot of time.
And Dominique, looks like the final question we have from Nathan is, do you see 3D printing helping out in this design area when it comes to incorporating new products?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really cool today, we have also we showed at the markets, we have the transportation trains and so. And now there we have the possibility to print material who have the railway certification. And so the cool thing there is you can really you can in an early stage make this a cockpit or a shape. You have more degrees, freedom degrees. You can shape it. You can adjust the components more ergonomic. And then you have a housing who is Revit certificated, and that's really cool. So you can also start with piece one, quantity one, and then you can scale it up. That's really cool. And 3D printing today, I, I, I think most people even have one at home, a little printer, and you
Right.
can,
Yeah.
if you have an idea, you bring it on the screen and then you print it out. And that's a cool thing because I always say also to our engineers, when you have it on the screen, then you can zoom it so, and then it's so big. But to have to print it out, to make a model, and then to have to play around, and then you see the problems or the benefits, something like this.
Well, that just about wraps things up today, Dominique. So a massive thank you to EAO for today's presentation, and obviously a huge thank you to you as well, Dominique Burkhardt, for giving us the presentation today. We appreciate your time and definitely appreciate the presentation.
Thank you a lot. Bye together.
Have a great day, everyone.
You can listen to all of our episodes of Manufacturing Matters and Lunch and Learn podcast from the MFG Radio Network on Spotify, Apple Music, and on our websites, todaysmedicaldevelopments.com, aerospacemanufacturinganddesign.com, defenseandmunitions.com, and evdesignandmanufacturing.com.